What up, guys? So while we wait for the Absolute event to come out, I thought this would be the perfect time to discuss if the devs have been spamming first 3 attackers a little bit too much. And I guess also the fact that there have been like really high quality must summon type banners back to back, but yeah. For the most part, I think I'm going to be in a different tab, but in case I start rambling and there's nothing happening on the screen, I might just be playing over like a run of the mini game that I did, but anyways, let me switch screens here. Alright, so here we are. Time to talk about dates, dude. My favorite thing to talk about. I'm not using the other wiki because the other wiki is like behind on the dates for some reason. Now, as you guys know, or in case you weren't paying attention, for the most part this year we've had a lot of stuff released for like limited, so to speak, and also 1% like Pilgrim or Overspec banners. So, and also I was looking at this earlier and I'm thinking that I feel like as long as we don't get griefed, then that last part of the year shouldn't have too many crazy stuff to summon, so it should be pretty nice to just save all the stuff. But anywho, let me compare this year to last year first of all. So this year, right, we got Rappy Red Hood in here. Also, I wish this one had like the list of units. Does it have a list of units on here? No. Oh well. Anyways, we have Rappy Red Hood here, and then we had the collab. So what is this? This was only 2 units, unlike the Evangelion first wave. I accidentally clicked that. Whoops. The first wave of this was 3 units, so that shit's kind of grief. But let's see. That's like, so 1, it's like 1%, and then 2 limited, and then we had the 2 banners this year for the 0.5 celebration, the 2.5. It was Siren and Mihara, and then they fit in, instead of the like bunny event, usually it's around this time, I think. I'd have to double check, but I mean, we'll see that when I talk about last year's. But they fit in a collab for the Stellar Blade, which also 2 limited. So there's, what was that, 4, right? So hold on, 1 and then 3, no, I can't count, and then 5 and then 7, so that's 7. And then you get a 1% limited, which I'm pretty sure Dorothy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she was the first 1% limited banner, right? I don't think they've done a Pilgrim limited before. Yeah, I'm like almost 80% sure they haven't. But anyways, yeah, so it was her and then a leg. That's already like close to 9, almost 10, bro. Like must summon banners, quote unquote. I would say all of the regular banners like Sora, these are basically like easy skips. The wishlist mechanic in this game is very generous. I feel like skipping a lot of these banners has almost little to no downside. So like other than that, the only real must summon type banners is obviously like the Pilgrim, the Overspec, and then I can never really tell people not to summon Unlimited, right? Because they won't get put into the pool. So it's kind of like the only time you're going to get it, especially collabs. Like, for example, the Chainsaw Man collab hasn't came back. But, I mean, we already had 2 other collabs that come back. So maybe that's not the worst. But, like, I wouldn't count on collabs coming back and be like, oh, I'll just get it the next time it comes back. You know what I mean? Rather than, I don't know, a summer event where it's like, okay, I can just get this next year when they come back. But it's a bit different for that. But anywho, yeah, so we have already a lot from there. And comparing it to last year, let's see, we're about summer-ish, right? Oh, and I guess after I can talk about the banners that are coming out. The 3, whatchamacallit, the Absolute members that are announced. Apparently that event's going to be voiced, by the way, if you guys didn't see that. So that'll be pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie. Anywho, last year, the New Year's was Black Shadow, I believe, right? Yeah, I think it was this one. So it was Black Shadow, and then, goddamn, I clicked it again. And then I think we had the ReZero collab. So ReZero collab was 2 units, so that's 3. And then last year's Crown was only 1. So that's a big distinction from last year that we have this year. Instead of 1 unit for the 1.5 anniversary, we had 2 with Siren and Mihara for this year's 2.5 anniversary. And then obviously, I said, yeah, instead of this event, which is the Bunny event, they kind of rammed the Stellar Blade collab into here. And then we had the Summer, which this was 2 units. This was just regular with Sakura and Rosanna, so not 1%. And I believe that's like everything to catch up from here. So what is that? 1, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Yeah, so the other one, not counting like the 2B reruns, right? That's already like 2 to 3 extra units this year alone, which is very interesting. Now, I have said this before, I believe that if they are going to release more units, and obviously I understand, right? It's a gacha game, it's a business, and they gotta make money, right? So I can understand that, but I feel like if you're going to change the schedule, stuff like that, you should probably at least give a bit more resources. I feel like right now, with the recent addition that they gave us, it was like, what, 5 tickets and 2,000 gems or something like that? That makes the summer not too bad. Obviously, I'm going to wait and see if they give like a lot for the Absolute, because that Absolute event is going to coincide with the reruns. But I feel like at the very least, they should not have gave the banner specific like special tickets for the 2B. Those should have just been like regular advanced recruits. I don't know why they did that, I'm not going to lie. Especially since I'm almost 99% sure the amount they gave for that was 29. Like, I don't know why they gave 29 and not 30. That really fucks with my OCD. Good thing I didn't like collect it to the end. I was using 10 for the summons, like when I had 10. So I wasn't looking at how much we got in total. But yeah, 29 is pretty devious, I'm not gonna lie. But it's a very interesting topic that we have. Granted, I feel like topics like this are very interesting because we don't have as much power creep as most gacha games, I'd say. Like, if you pulled Red Hood, for example, when did she come out, right? She came out the first anniversary, which was, boom, early November of 2023, bro. That's like almost 2 years ago at this point. And she's still, I would say, a very, very good attacker. Like, easily one of the best, right? Obviously, there's been a little bit better units that came out. Like, Rappy Red Hood, I would say, is a bit better. I wouldn't argue maybe Cindy is better, but they kind of fit different roles, so I don't know. It is kind of hard to argue stuff about that in this game. Like, for example, Crown, right? Crown isn't like a flashy attacker and like, oh, big number damage, but like the amount of util she gives for the team is like so crazy that like I would put her above most attackers, like in general. And especially because she's been doing it for so long. When did she come out? Let me put this in perspective. It's been like almost a whole year and a half now, right? She came out in April 25th, 2024. So yeah, like a whole year and almost a half basically, and she's still like in undisputed best burst too, especially since she works really good with Naga. I think that just helps Naga out very, very nicely. But anyways, real quick, let me quickly discuss what I was thinking about earlier. I was looking at this earlier and thinking that they have been spamming a lot of these like high value type banners, right, where you probably would want to summon in case you don't want to like miss out with collabs, limited, etc. But since they announced that Absolute event, I believe that should cover up until like September. Oh, I pulled this up, by the way. Let me swap to this. I won't go over the event details. They dropped the update details and the patch notes and whatnot, but I'm going to do that when the update drops. I'll go over like the whole events. I usually like doing that for events that are different. But yeah, this is going to be fully voiced, which is actually really, really awesome. And right here, it's going to be a part 1 and 2, so it should end, yeah, September 4th. So I feel like there's a very, very big chance we don't get another collab this year. It's not guaranteed, and honestly, I don't think it would be a good idea for them to jam a collab between, like, after this Absolute and the anniversary. But the chances are they don't do that here. Let me go for last year. I don't know why I'm scrolling up. Whoops. Alright, so last year's, we had the summer event, right? And then we had 2 events. We had the collab, and then we had a couple more events, and then the anniversary was right here at the beginning of November. And by the time that the Absolute event ends, it should be like around the middle of when the collab was last year. So honestly, I mean, realistically, they could probably fit a collab in like this time, but it would have to take up like all of September or all of October, which I don't know would be the best idea. And also, that would make this year have even more limited units / high value banner, type 1% banner, stuff like that, Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, and then they need to do this. They're so far behind on this. So if, in case you don't know, this was the event for the popularity poll last year. Last year, Red Hood won, and then they did a little mini event where they gave us free skin. Let me actually pull up the tweet of when that popularity poll like vote. So what happened was you voted for your favorite character, which Red Hood won, And then they made 3 skins and had us choose which one we wanted to be like that skin. Here, let me pull that up right quick. Okay, so I found the tweet, and yeah, this tweet came out on June 26th, which we are already pretty behind. It's almost going to be, I mean, not really. I was going to say it's almost going to be a month, but no, that's, wait, no, it is June. I'm stupid. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost going to be 2 months, kind of. In 20 days, it'll be 2 months, which is pretty interesting, but yeah. They showed this. It was like, oh, she won the popularity pool. You have these 3 skins to choose from, and then obviously this is the one that won. They had like a kind of vote thing on their website where you could vote whichever one you wanted. And like, okay, so this came out in June, and then this came out in September. That's what? Like almost 3 months? Yeah, and we haven't even gotten this yet. Granted, it is kind of interesting because they like making an event around this, right? This is what this was. It was kind of like a mini story event, and they did let you use Red Hood in like the campaign mini story thingy that they had. So I'm wondering that these guys are having a hard time on this because they don't know how to put like a rappy event with a new costume fit in with the lore, I guess. I feel like that's what they're doing right now, which is why it's kind of muddled. Because, dude, it's right now I'm recording this on August 5th, okay? And these guys have just not done anything. They haven't released anything about her gacha, or not her gacha, her popularity pool skin, sorry. And, like, it's about to be the time when last year Red Hoods was already out. Meanwhile, these guys haven't even let us select, like, which one will win. Granted, I believe they're going to do that. I'm not sure if they did that for the Modernia skin. Fuck, I should look that up. But anywho, yeah, we're far behind on that, but... Oh, I totally got off topic with the whole popularity pool skin, my bad. For the rest of the year, I expect the only real high-value banners, as long as they don't do a collab, which I'm about like 80% sure that they won't do a collab. It's not 0, and honestly, I would say it would probably be a bad idea, but it's always a possibility, I guess. Anywho, the only high quality banners that are probably going to be for the last part of the year is probably just anniversary and then the winter event. So last year, the anniversary is about November-ish. I'm pretty sure it's always like around November 1st. Let me double check. Yeah, around like October 30th to November 3rd, something like that. It should be in that week range. And then we should get, yeah, like one event after, and then the winter event, and then around there we'll get the New Year's, which will also be a 1%. So not too many, especially compared to the first half, but let me actually double check. So the first year they had the event, or the anniversary, sorry. And then I believe this was the winter event, right? This was Ludmilla's, right? I'm not gonna lie, this is when I wasn't playing, so I'm not that sure. I believe this was the Ludmilla event, so the Ludmilla was the limited unit that year. And then immediately after was the Black Shadow, yeah. So this year, the only things that we should have remain is the anniversary, and then they'll do like an event or two, and then we should get the winter celebration. I don't know what it'll be this year. Last year was like a Dragon Quest team thing. So I'm very interested to see what they're going to do. Honestly, they should do another Hot Springs event, dude. I wasn't there when the first one came out. No! Also, did they rerun Ludmilla last year? I think they did. I don't know if they're going to be rerunning a lot of the other winters because they reran the winter, or they're going to rerun the winter, sorry. The Rupee and the Anne. They're going to rerun that along with the summer units, which is fucking weird, but whatever, bro. I don't know why people love, like, doing Christmas stuff in the summer. It's a bit awkward, but that's quite interesting. But yeah, we'll get the winter event, and then we'll get a 1% banner. Now for anniversary, I think we might just get one unit, I'm not gonna lie. If they're gonna do Hansel and Gretel, that might just be one new unit, unless they do something where they like split them, but that wouldn't really make sense in the lore. Without going into spoilers, I don't think that would make any sense. So realistically, there's a chance that we only get one unit this anniversary, which honestly I would prefer, because these guys kind of sucked us dry at the beginning of the year. But yeah, we'll probably get one unit for the anniversary, and then we will get the winter event, and then from there we'll probably get the New Year 1% Pilgrim and or Overspec. But yeah, for the rest of the year, it looks like that would be it. But yeah, I think overall, depending on how the next part of the year is, like the maraining part, it might actually be not that bad as I expected, right? Because last year they had, let me count, right? So the beginning of the year was Scarlet Black Shadow, which I can't find. I'm blind. Here we go. It was so 1, and then they had 3 with this was limited ReZero collab, and then 4 this was Crown, 5, 6 the summer units. Oh, but the problem is I forgot the first wave of Evangelion was 3 units, so that's kind of griefed. So that makes 9 with those 3, and then we had the anniversary, which was 2. That was when Cindy and Grave came out, so that's 11. And then it was 2 for this one, 13 in total. And right now we're already at, what are we at? So 1, and then 3, 1, 3, 5, and then 7. Oh no, 7 here. And then 9. So we're already at 9. So actually, it probably will be around the same. As long as they don't do another collab in the next part of the year, which I don't think. It'll actually be the same. So, I guess it's a bit weirder this time because it's spaced differently. For the most part, I would say that the second half of the year is the ones that have the more banners that are like 1% and or limited. And the first half of the year is pretty chill. And it looks like they flipped it on its head this year. So maybe it's not actually that bad. I feel like, for the most part, they've been spamming these 1% banners, and I was thinking that it was way too much than last year. But now that I see, like, the whole bigger picture, I don't think it's the worst. The only gripe, right, which is why I kind of went on a tangent. Originally, I wanted to just go over, like, oh, them spamming the burst 3 attackers, like, a bunch of over and over and over again, right? But I also kind of got distracted by talking about dates and how the whole thing was structured, and then I went on a tangent about the popularity poll skin. Back on topic, I mean, these guys, I feel like the problem is, so we had Rappy Red Hood, right? She was really good, and she was a fire, and immediately after, one of the banners that were very high value was Siren, which was pretty nice, and then Mihara, though. I feel like in comparison, they probably should have made Mihara different typing than her. Because, I mean, she is really, really good for bossing, which is kind of her only strength, right? And I do remember that one of my distinctions that I saw was that she was getting her, like, chains cleansed or whatever by Indivilla, which they fixed, actually. I don't know if it's said that there was a bug, or maybe they just didn't want Indivilla to cleanse her. Maybe other bosses will in the future, but her skills in the game says that her chains are supposed to not be able to be cleansed. So, like, I'm not sure if that's going to have the boss never be able to cleanse it like it's intended, or it's like the boss is just going to say, fuck it, we ball, and cleanse it anyways. Yeah, see, she was in a weird spot, but that's like the 3rd burst 3 attacker, right? And then for the Stellar Blade, we had 2 more. And then now for this summer event, there's 2 more. Like, I feel like that's a bit too much. I think if the Stellar Blade collab didn't have 2, I think we'd be fine. And I believe that a leg probably would have worked better as a support. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think them making a limited the Dorothy, I don't think making her a not burst 3 would have been a good idea, but I feel like making a leg not a burst 3 attacker probably would have been a better idea. Because, look, how many burst 3 attackers have we got this year, actually? Let me check. I just was doing how many high value banners we got this year, but oh, I didn't even remember that the Evangelion stuff. Oh my god, let me check. Were both of those burst 3 attackers? I think so. Oh my goodness. I just drew a blank. It was her, and then it was, I think they're both wind. Let me just look up wind. Where are they? I'm blind, bro. Yeah, here we go. They're both burst 3 attackers. Where are they not? Burst 3 attacker. Yeah, burst 3 attacker. They were both burst 3. Dude, I totally forgot about that. Okay, so forget it. So that's 1, 3, and then 4 for the anniversary, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so the high quality banners that have come out this year have been 9 units, and all of them have been burst 3 attackers except 1, Siren. Okay, that's awesome. I don't know how it didn't cross my mind that the Evangelion units weren't burst 3 attackers, bro. What the fuck? But yeah, I don't know. These guys have been spamming burst 3 attackers. I feel like maybe the Evangelion collab wave 2 units, one of them should have definitely not been burst 3 attacker, especially since both of them, the first wave, the Rei and Asuka, both of them were burst 3 attackers. So I don't know why the wave 2 they'd be like, yeah, let's just make them another burst 3 attackers and change up their kit. Granted, I feel like they do serve different purposes, right? The burst 3 attackers from the first wave serve a different purpose than those burst 3 attackers, but I don't know. I feel like at this point we've got so many burst 3 attackers where we need to do something. I think it's because they don't want to replace Crown or something, or honestly they don't know what they could do to make a better Crown, other than it'll be just be like, oh, this is literally copy and pasted a Crown's kit with just like, I don't know, it gives Pierce 2 or something, so it's just strictly better. So yeah, this is a bit awkward. I don't know how I forgot about the Evangelion Wave 2 Burst 3 attacker shenanigans, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like they definitely have been going way too hard on the Burst 3 attackers recently, and I would like some more variety. Granted, it is pretty interesting. Like I said before, the power creep on this game is pretty weird in the fact that I feel like you aren't incentivized to collect the new characters just because they're all really, really good or powerful. Especially since in this game, I don't really think you need a lot of dupes. Units, in my opinion, don't really need dupes like they do in a lot of other gacha games. Like for Dokkan, for example, I feel like there are units that come out in that game that are really, really good without any dupes, like at 55%. But comparing them to like, if they have 2 dupes, so they're at 79%, that's just like a huge extra step into power. And then the last 2 dupes are like pretty powerful, but they're not as substantial as the first 2. Like that jump is very substantial. I don't think there's anything like that in this game. And if you don't know anything about Dokkan and you're like, what is this guy saying? Then unfortunately that kind of sucks, but oh well. That's the only other gacha game I'm that familiar with, so this is a bit awkward, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like attackers in general are a bit awkward because of that power creep. You're not incentivized to like grab the new shiny stuff, and I feel like the only way they could really fix it is instead of trying to like rehash a kit to make it like, oh, more modern, I feel like they should give a bit more gimmicks to units. For example, like, I don't know, making them more powerful over time, like after they continually burst, maybe making them transform, kind of like how they kind of have it with like Kay, where she changes guns, or the other units that change guns, or like maybe make it so that they're really, really good but in a specific setup. Like the new absolute units that are going to come out, they said that they wouldn't be overspec, or at least they've never made the distinction that they will be. So I think they're just going to be normal and getting put into the wishlist pool after the fact. The problem is that these guys don't really have the best track record on making like units that go into the regular wishlist pool that crazy. Now, I don't think they all need to be like nuts like Alice or Litter, where they're just like irreplaceable and you can just invest them really, really early on in the game and they'll just have so much value for your account like forever. I don't think they all need to be like that, but I would appreciate if they would at least have some role to fill. Like, I don't know, maybe they can be an Alice, like in a specific setup. I know they're kind of trying to do that. I feel like that's what the Dorothy is, right? Granted, I do think she is good other than bossing, but her bossing against like water weak enemies, which I don't think we really had that big of hitters for water, is very valuable. So I feel like that's what they're trying to do. It's just, I'm scared that the new absolute units will kind of be mid. I would hope that maybe it's kind of like a thing where, oh, you need all 3 of them on the same team. Granted, that does kind of suck that you need all of them to be really, really good, but like, I don't feel like people are going to summon on those anyways if they're just going to be regular and go into the wish list anyways. So, I don't know. They have to do something that would make them viable. Or maybe, like, I don't know, making them really, really good in PvP or something, or making them really, really good against a specific boss or with a specific setup. That's why I think they should honestly make it so that they give buffs to, like, I don't know, Elysion, or maybe units of the same squad. Like, they did that with the bunny girls, and I don't think that was the worst. Granted, that was only 2 units, right? You only needed 2, and they buffed each other. And with the release of Rogue, like, that kind of helps the other girls, right? So, I don't know. I feel like they should do something like that. That would probably make them a bit better. Or at the very least, it would make them interesting. Like, introducing some new game-changing kind of mechanics would be welcomed. Granted, obviously, I don't know how hard that would be to code, so I'm kind of just talking out of my ass, but that is besides the point. I don't know. I guess we will wait and see. Those guys haven't dropped the details for all of them yet. I probably will cover the details for all 3 of them when they drop. If they take a long time to drop, like, each of them, I might do, like, one by one, but I don't think so. Because last time I did that with Dorothy, and then I checked the next day, like, when I was editing, and they released fucking Aleg's detail, so I had to splice that in at the end of the video, and it was like a weird cut. Granted, I'm not against doing that, because we do things kind of scuffed around here, but fuck it, we ball. But yeah, I would just hope that for the next part of the year, these guys would chill with the burst 3 attackers, first of all. And, I don't know, maybe release some, like, different mechanics. Like, I probably can make a video about this, but my most wanted, like, mechanics that could change the game is I would want someone to, like, transform mid-game. They kind of have that with Lapis, so I would think it wouldn't be too hard to implement. Something like that, or something that stacks. Granted, that would obviously be more inclined for bossing, and that kind of would be, like, a bit boring. Like, oh, a stacking unit. Obviously, this is going to be good for a longer fight, obviously. I know it could be, like, a little bit boring, but that would be kind of interesting. And then, obviously, the gun swapping mechanic. I think they are scared to make that good. I'm not really sure. All those gun swapping units have been, like, okay. I think Lapis is probably the best out of any of them, but I'm not sure. Maybe Snow White was really good when she came out. I think she also does that. But off the top of my head, the other ones are kind of like, eh. And then finally, I think they could do something like a dual unit. I feel like that's what Hansel and Gretel will be. It'll be like 2 units kind of doing. I don't know if it'll be like something cool where it's like, oh, maybe you can swap them out mid-match where it's like, oh, we use Hansel and then you swap to Gretel or something, or just both of them are there on screen. I feel like something like that would be pretty cool. Maybe the screen will be pretty crowded in that case. Like, imagine you're running 5 units and all of them are dual units, so there's like 10 people on the screen at once. I think that might actually be pretty bad. Maybe that's why they're not doing dual units. But they could do like exchange units. I think that'd be fun. I don't know, I feel like dual units would be pretty cool. Then you could be like, have Rappy and Anis be one unit, like doing some goofy stuff. I feel like that'd be cool. But alas, I do think that would be goofy. Like I said, if you run 5 dual units, that's 10 fucking people on the screen. That might be a bit too much, but that would sound very funny though. So let's keep that in mind. I just hope these guys chill with the next part of the year. I do believe it shouldn't be too crazy. At most, if they don't do a collab, we'll get 4 more limited. Or, no, we'll get 2 1% banners and then 2 limited from the winter at most, I would say. There's just no way they do 3 anymore. At least I hope not. Because at that point, we're going to have way more than last year. But I think at the end of the year, I should probably do like a video peeping the whole this year's schedule. Because it was a bit different than last year's. And just kind of go over everything. I feel like I want to do a lot of like end of the year type videos. Maybe I'll do a tier list. Maybe I'll do going over the events and all that stuff. I think that is it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these guys spamming burst 3s for the first fucking half of the year. And also, if you guys think they should have changed that. And also, what you guys are expecting for the next half of the year. I feel like we'll only just get the anniversary and then the winter celebration, like, event thing. But other than that, we should be good. But yeah, I think that is everything. So, let me know what you guys think about all that stuff. And I will catch you guys later.